Okay, let's roll.
We can make this a little longer, too, if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Check 1 2 1 2 3. All right, I'm recording. Well, losing a football game is bad enough. Second-guessing yourself after you lose is even worse. Freddie Kitchens and the Browns find themselves in that situation this morning after a 20-13 loss to the Los Angeles Rams last night at First Energy Stadium. This is a Spielman and Hooley Monday episode where we'll look at the Browns' loss, the Buckeyes' big victory over Miami of Ohio on Saturday, and fold that into the context of what we saw at Wisconsin, Chris. You were in Philadelphia for the Lions win over the Eagles. Did you get a chance to watch any of Michigan and Wisconsin?
Watched the whole Michigan game, just how the schedule worked out, and it was just I can't recognize what I'm seeing on the field. I did the Lions-Philadelphia Eagle game yesterday, and I talked to a lot of my old buddies from Michigan in the press, and they're asking me. And it comes down to this, and this is just my opinion, but people can say what they want about Jim Harbaugh, and maybe he's lost it a little bit. I don't know as far as being in touch. It seems like he's out of touch. That's what they say. But to me, it's talent. There's such a discrepancy in talent. When you compare Ohio State's talent to Michigan's talent, it's not even close.
I agree 100%.
And I have no idea how it got that way. Michigan should never be in a position for talent. I mean, Don Brown's a good football coach.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Warner's a good offensive line coach. And the other thing that people aren't talking about is that you have to be able to recruit. If you want to run that offense, you have to recruit to that offense.
Yes.
They haven't been recruiting to that offense. And so it's a mess right now. It's a big mess now. It's one loss into the Big Ten, so they certainly can turn it around, but I don't see any signs of them turning around. People are complaining about the offense. I mean, you look at it, Jonathan Taylor had to get IVs after the first quarter because he ran. I thought he was on the cross-country team.
I mean, they're up 28-0 at halftime with him sitting out the second quarter. So
he had 143 yards in the first quarter.
We will get into more of Michigan. No problems on offense for the Ohio State Buckeyes on Saturday. A little bit of a slow start, but then everything was fantastic. 76-5 over Miami of Ohio. We have an array of choices to pick from for our flashes of fun, picture-perfect play of the day. We will go with this one of Justin Fields' 4 second-quarter touchdown passes to Ben Victor. Come on there, Justin. Oh, baby. I don't know why that's doing that.
We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to it. Anyway, flashes of fun for your senior pictures. It plagued in the test, of course, but it's not going to play right now.
Of course not.
But flashes of fun on Instagram, flashesofun, or on the web, flashesofun.com. They'll take your senior pictures in affordable fashion, pet pictures, anything like that. And they've been viewed and used over 1.7 million times on Instagram. Look, so you're getting a bargain and you're getting good stuff.
Not even going to evaluate the Ohio State game. Because it's not fair.
Well, you got to evaluate that throw from Fields to Victor. That was a fantastic
I'm saying there's a lot of great plays.
Yeah.
In the throw, right? You evaluate the throw. You don't evaluate the opponent. But I'm not going to give Chase Young an evaluation when he's so clearly much more dominant than the opponent. It's just not fair to evaluate and break down that. There's nothing to break down.
No, not really. No.
No, there's nothing to break down. Guys played how they're supposed to play. And everybody gets to throw a touchdown pass.
In light of what we said for Michigan, that is something, I mean, you play like you're supposed to play. Ryan Day was asked after the game if he saw a slow start coming. He said no, and then he talked about the fact that, we can overlook it, but it still takes, living up to your expectations to perform in that fashion.
Yeah.
$7:30 Saturday night, game day in Lincoln, Nebraska. Surprised at that, but I looked at the rest of the schedule. There's really not a ton of games. I watched Nebraska defeat Illinois late Saturday night. Did you have BTN at your hotel? Could you watch that?
No, I did not, but I checked the stats.
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, they were coming back the whole second half, down 14, down 7, finally got it done. They turned it over 4 times. JD had a tremendous catch over the middle, took a big shot. Your nephew, JD Spielman. Nebraska can move the football. I don't know if they can move the football on Ohio State, but they'll get the full game day treatment on Saturday. They'll get Herbie and Fowler on Saturday night. So more of a test than Miami of Ohio, certainly.
Oh, it is a test, and it's a test for Justin Fields to go on the road, right, and be the starter at a great venue. I think, along with, of course, Ohio State and some of the other great venues, Nebraska, if you're an Ohio State fan, if you have a chance to get to Lincoln, you've been to Lincoln, I think.
I have not. That's one I have not been to.
It's just a cool place. The people are great. It's just an atmosphere and a way of life. So if you're passionate about college football, you're passionate about Ohio State, if you want to make a road trip, that's the place to go. For me, this is Ohio State's test. It's the biggest test for Justin Fields. I'm not worried about the other guys. I'm not even worried about it. I think he's going to pass it, but until he does, we have to look for something to challenge these guys, because they, as Ryan said, all week we hear how people tell how you are great.
They are great. There's no disputing that.
You beat a team 75-5, and you took the foot off the gas, or 76-5.
76-5 in one half, and really, I mean, for me, Saturday was all about context. It was all about, Ohio State plays an overmatched opponent, but they win like they're supposed to win.
Right.
And it's right on the heels of what I saw at Camp Randall, where if you take those Michigan uniforms off those guys, I feel like I'm watching Purdue. I feel like I'm watching Indiana, and not a bad day.
No, I'm not being facetious, or I'm not speaking in hyperbole. Take the helmets off, and I might as well turn on Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Ferris State, Wayne State, any other state up there, Grand Valley State, because that's not a Michigan team. And when you go to a place like Michigan, there's a certain standard that needs to be upheld. When you're not upholding that standard, then there's going to be blowback. So I want to see if this Michigan man thing is anything to these guys. I want to see, are they going to come together? Are they going to respond? Are they going to have pride? Because this offense is not what they are. That offensive line was decimated and destroyed by Wisconsin. Jake Long had a tweet out on Saturday, and he said, and it was really, I think, said a lot without saying much.
Number 1 overall pick, left tackle from Michigan in early 2000s.
Yeah, he was a great player in college. So Jake had a video of the Michigan offense walking out onto the field to start a series. And Jake's tweet was, look, no matter what the score, no matter the circumstances, it doesn't matter. This can never happen at Michigan. Paraphrasing slightly, but that's the message, where the guys were walking out. It's like they don't want to play. They're not interested in being there. And I thought Joel Klatt, or maybe it was Gus that said it during the broadcast, that there's no sense of urgency, there's no energy, there's no celebration of playing the game. It's college football. It's supposed to be the time of your life. It looks like everybody's miserable under those winged helmets.
I will give you what I think, in hindsight, was the turning point in the football game, and it was early. What I don't see is that exact thing. I don't see them playing hard. I don't see them playing with enthusiasm. I don't see them changing the line of scrimmage. I don't see any urgency out there. First offensive play for Michigan. Broken play, Shea Patterson makes the kind of play we're led to believe Shea Patterson's going to make all the time. Right. He hits Ronnie Bell, and Ronnie Bell has a head start on Wisconsin's secondary along the right sideline, and he's got about 50, 60 yards to the end zone. He gets caught from behind inside the 10. You will not see an Ohio State receiver get caught from behind like that. So then Michigan comes out, and they're going to try to run it in. Josh Gaddis, new offensive coordinator, Mr. Wild Spread Offense, all this kind of stuff. He's handing the ball to Ben Mason, a guy who's been practicing at defensive tackle. Yeah. I don't know that that's a Jim Harbaugh call, but that's a very strange call. And Ben Mason gets hit, and he fumbles the ball. And to me, in hindsight, what I saw after that is explained by those two plays where Ronnie Bell's in the open field and can't score. So the talent disparity, the speed disparity, the urgency disparity is evident. And they fumble, and they have no inner fortitude, that Michigan man thing you're talking about. We're all right. We got them pinned down here. We'll hold them. No, there's none of that. There's none of that. And it's just, I really think Michigan is Ohio State's old girlfriend that did you wrong in the 90s. And we're going to talk about forgiveness at the end of the show. Yeah. You need to get over that rivalry, folks. It's not a rivalry anymore. Do you realize we're in 2019? There's a generation of Ohio State fans who've grown up hearing about the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, and it's never been one.
Yeah. Well, it says everything when Ohio State, in that situation on the goal line, can roll out J.K. Dobbins, Master Teague III, McCall, and about 5 other guys we haven't heard of yet. And Michigan's rolling out a defensive tackle converted to fullback, and he fumbles the football.
Yeah.
It says everything about where the two programs are.
Garrett Wilson and Jamison Williams in the second half catching those balls are more demonstrative playmakers than anything I see from Michigan. I heard Urban talking on the Fox pregame show about Donovan Peoples-Jones on Friday night when he was doing USC in Utah. Donovan Peoples-Jones looks slow out there. They all look slow. I don't think they are slow, but they play slow.
They're not playing with any confidence, so thought brings hesitation. Hesitation brings embarrassment and also missed opportunities. So why they may look slow, they might be, I'm not saying they're slow, they can probably be great timed 40 guys. I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know this, they're not in sync, and as a football player, if you are out there thinking, you have no shot, like especially against an opponent that's not thinking. And it was like, Michigan was so slow that they made a normally slow-looking Wisconsin team look like an Olympic track team.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, in defense,
Wisconsin's pretty good. Wisconsin's good.
And they're Jimmy Leonard's the defensive coordinator, good pro, was a walk-on at Wisconsin. That whole story, he's recruited more speed, and they are playing faster. But we saw what Ohio State did a couple years ago.
We saw it last year in a Big Ten championship.
Wisconsin. I mean, they're not even in the same arena with the athletes that Ohio State have.
We're going to play Wisconsin twice. I'm convinced of that.
Oh yeah,
play them in a regular
they're really
season.
good. Jonathan Taylor is the real deal, man.
But he takes his time at the line of scrimmage finding his spot, and I'm not sure you have that luxury against Ohio State.
Well, that depends on that offensive line because they are tremendous at double teaming, then coming off to the second level, and you call it taking your time. I call it being a great running back because he has patience and vision.
West Jefferson Plumbing and Heating, they will not test your patience. A lot of plumbers do. A lot of heating and cooling people do. You know the drill. You sit, you wait. They say they'll be there at 10 in the morning. They're not there. That won't happen at West Jefferson Plumbing and Heating. You say, West Jefferson, I don't even know where it is. We don't really need to know where it is because they know where you are. They service all of Central Ohio. West Jefferson Plumbing and Heating is a great American success story. Started in 1975 by a dear man. One phone line in his house. Now they have trucks all over the city, and they're doing a great job. 879-9606, the 614 area code, 614-879-9606. Great Lennox products, high-efficiency furnace. They will install it. They'll give you $500 off. Lennox products, they are awesome. So plumbing, heating, cooling, you name it, West Jefferson Plumbing and Heating on the web at westjeffplumbingandheating.com.
Somebody's been busy while
I've been busy. I've been under the gun to produce here, so... Trying to do it for you.
Sell.
Trying to do it for you.
Yeah, I'm looking for that quarterly report, by the way.
I'm working on it.
Mr. CEO.
I'm working on it.
You're CEO of the show. You're CEO of the advertising. You're CEO of sales.
So you come up with an idea. Let's do a podcast. And then I'm made CEO
of everything.
Of everything. It's all right. Glad to do it.
I'm driving out here every day to Hooley Manor.
That's right.
Putting my life at risk with that demon-possessed cat that's walking around here somewhere.
Yeah, we have the cat.
Where is that thing?
We have the cat safely stowed away, so you're not traumatized. Today was the dogs. And the wife called the dogs off.
You think that you might, be... I've been coming out of here 3 days a week at 8 in the morning. You think you might be aware that I'm coming at 8 in the morning to stop having your animals attacked?
I really can't explain why. Normally they learn, friendly faces, but the instincts of an animal.
Next thing I know,
I'm not going to argue with it.
Star the horse is going to come with a hoof attack on me.
Who knows? I'd watch my back if I were you. All right. One final thought on Ohio State and Michigan contextually before we get to the Browns last night. And there's a lot there. It struck me, Michigan Saturday, they went with Shea Patterson. He was not making anything happen.
McCaffrey's not your answer, by the way.
I actually like Dylan McCaffrey, but boy, that was a scary hit.
Took.
Wow, that was a scary hit. But here's the thing. This is why, if you're a Michigan fan, I hate to doubly discourage you, but it's bad enough now in the present. But what did Saturday really tell us as we take the long view? This is the year, Ryan Day, Justin Fields. Is Justin Fields really what he was supposed to be? Is Ryan Day going to be able to coach Ohio State? And la, 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 la.
Yes.
Okay, so you see Justin Fields perform. He's got 19 touchdowns through 4 games, second in the country in touchdowns accounted for, 2 more touchdowns than Dwayne Haskins had through 4 games. So check that box. Ryan Day can coach and Justin Fields can play. But more so, Joe Burrow throws 6 touchdown passes on Saturday.
How about Colin Cowherd?
Oh yeah, that
Can
was
we
bad.
Get into that just a second?
We will get into it, but I feel bad for Colin. But
it's your guy.
I know. I feel bad. Nobody likes to. I have made mistakes like that. Nobody likes to make mistakes like that. It was a big mistake. So here's what I look back on. The Ohio State quarterback room had Dwayne Haskins in it. It had Joe Burrow in it. Both of them left, and Ohio State goes out and finds another guy, comes in, plugs him in, and he's playing great. Michigan, they have been scrambling for a quarterback ever since Harbaugh has been there, and it's more a problem. It's more than a problem of how Patterson is playing. At this point in time, you have to look at 4+ years of Harbaugh with Brandon Peters at Illinois, and with McCaffrey you saying not be the answer, and with Shea Patterson not being the answer.
Do you think McCaffrey's the answer?
I think he's better than Patterson.
Okay.
But I don't think he's that durable.
Neither guy's the
answer.
Here's
the thing. They can't either identify or develop a quarterback. And that has to be really sobering, given that Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback and is a guy who thinks like a quarterback. And if you can't find a quarterback, a dynamic quarterback in college football, you're not winning.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been saying all along with Harbaugh, correct? That he can't develop a quarterback, which is part of the conversation I had in the press box with the Detroit sports writers. The most surprising thing about Jim Harbaugh's tenure at Michigan is that exact problem. Why can't he get a guy?
Or develop a guy?
Okay, here's a reason. Because he was running a 1990 offense. So what do all the great high school quarterbacks want to do?
They want to run the spread.
They want to run a spread. They want to sling it around. They want to put up gigantic numbers, and they want to get ready to play in the NFL.
Okay, but let me throw Alabama at you. They don't run the spread.
Yeah, they do. They have a ton of spread elements in their offense.
They're somewhat pro style. I mean, they throw the ball down the field. I think you can run the spread and still throw the ball down the field. Harbaugh just, I don't know. It's a mess up there.
Well, look who's Alabama's athletes are too compared to Michigan's
That's
athletes. I mean, it comes down. Look, it doesn't matter what we're running and how we're running it. It comes down to players, and Michigan might have very good players, but they're not playing very well.
No, they're not.
They're not. That's just the fact.
They're not.
I mean,
they got big problems. They're an 8-4 football team.
In the Big Ten, because it's horrendous. Besides Ohio State and Wisconsin, they need Michigan and Michigan State. They're like the scrappy little guy that's always in the corner screaming for attention.
Yeah,
and they'll fight you.
Speaking of bad offense,
but they'll fight you.
Yeah, they will.
They will fight you, dude. They will fight.
They will fight you, no doubt.
Coach D'Antonio coaches exactly like Coach Tressel. They find ways to get wins. They really do. It's ugly. It's not pretty.
No, it isn't.
But they fight, man. They are fighters.
The No Running with Scissors offense. Brought to you by Mark D'Antonio and the nightmare from your past, Jim Bowman. All right, now, the Browns. You said it's players. It's not play calling because that's where the focus is in the aftermath of last night's. You said you got to have players.
I said that for Michigan.
Okay, not for the Browns. Play calling last night.
Well,
Browns
there's a couple things.
Browns lose 20-13 to the Rams. Browns had the ball 6-ish minutes to go inside Rams territory, 4th and 9, and they ran a draw play to Nick Chubb, and it got a yard. And it got a lot of boos.
Well, it should have gotten boos. I got to believe there was a miscommunication. I think we have a cut of Coach Kitchens talking about that. I did something that I've never done before last night. First of all, I got off of the plane. I got home in time to watch the Browns game. So I analyzed the Detroit-Philadelphia game. And, after you're locked and focused for 3 straight hours.
That's all you've been thinking all week is Lions and Eagles.
Yeah, but during the game, you're so locked in that when you get home, you're really tired because just mentally tired, not physically. But I said, I want to try this. I actually tried to analyze. I don't know if you were following me on Twitter last night. I tried to analyze a game on Twitter, watching it real time. And there were a couple things that really stood out to me. That offensive line, and I'm going to disagree again with Joe Thomas. It's a big problem.
Browns offensive line.
It's a big problem.
Well, for Aaron Donald makes offensive lines have problems, but they were bad.
I think was other exposures besides Aaron Donald. It's a problem. Baker Mayfield is getting impatient. Chris Collinsworth had a great point last night about Baker abandoning the pocket. The Rams knew through scouting report that Baker likes to abandon the pocket, and where does he always go?
To the right.
Always goes to his right.
Yeah.
And so he's got to settle down and be a little bit more patient. He's not playing at the level that he needs to play, by the way. I thought Steve Wilkes in that defense did a tremendous job.
Browns defense decimated by injuries, didn't have either corner, and they did a nice job.
And they did a really good job. I mean, they made plays. They put that offense in plenty of positions to win.
Not a big Jared Goff fan based on what I saw last night.
Well, he had some drops, too. There were some drops by his guys.
They are a really good team, but I'm not sure he's good enough to win a Super Bowl.
I might be agreeing with you here. I'm not sold on him yet either. And the other issue is, look, I don't know if Freddie Kitchens is ready for this.
Well, we're going to find out.
It doesn't do me. I wish he were ready.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I hit on tweet last night that it's 4th and 9. Mm-hmm. So you got to anticipate that the Rams are not going to be playing man coverage. You're going to be playing some type of zone. So their eyes are to the backfield. Unlike the Daniel Jones touchdown to beat Tampa Bay, they were in man coverage. Daniel recognizes man coverage. He walks into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. 4th and 9, the Rams are in zone. You can see the backfield. You can read the offensive lineman on a quick set and a short set. That is an indicator for the draw play. And sure enough, there was nobody there. They had 3 or 4 guys right around there. So for him to call the draw, or Baker to check to a draw, I don't know what it was, somebody had to miscommunicate it, because I could not dial up a worse call than a draw play on 4th and 9, because you have to anticipate that the defense is going to be in zone, and when you're in zone defense, it's easy to defend the draw.
Here is Baker Mayfield, Pat McMenamin of The Athletic, asking Baker Mayfield about that draw play on 4th and 9.
No. No. Good answer.
Yeah, that's not a bad answer. Here's Freddie Kitchens. Same situation. Doug Maurice, our friend from Cleveland.com, asking Freddie what happened on the 4th and 9.
What happened on the 4th and 9 play call? Bad call.
Awful.
Did you want that play call? Yes, I wanted that play call.
Wow.
There you go.
So there's got to be an out. There's got to be an out. You got to have an audible to that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a counter. And I don't know if it's Baker has the leeway to make a counter or an audible. You couldn't be in a worse call. And at least he's taking responsibility for that, right?
Yeah. So then the Browns hold and get the ball back.
Right.
And drive it down the field. And they have 3 timeouts. And they get the ball to the Rams' 5-yard line.
Yep.
I think they have a minute left.
All timeouts.
And 3 timeouts. And they throw it 4 times. Do you recall, were they empty in the backfield all 4?
I don't know. I know they were empty in the last 2, I believe.
They were empty in the last 2, and Mayfield was under heavy pressure on the last couple.
I was fully anticipating that he was going to do a Daniel Jones, especially if he would catch Rams in man coverage and run a quick quarterback draw or step up into the pocket. The problem is that he's not stepping up into the pocket, and I don't know if that he has trouble seeing the field when he steps up into the pocket, because he really does have a bad habit of bailing to his right really early.
Yeah. And teams are going to exploit that. So I bet the Ravens are going to exploit that when they play the Browns this week. Here's Freddie Kitchens on, in hindsight, the fact that he should have run it at least once down on the goal line.
Should have run it once. Should have ran 3 times. If you're saying that after a game and you realize you should have called run play there, I was being facetious. I should have run it 1 time. I should have. That's why I'm kicking myself in the ass for right now. Is that an issue with the play calling in the moment? If after the game you're realizing I should have done something,
Wow.
you didn't do that. I should have called more of a direct run. That's all I'll say.
Okay, that to me is a little passive aggressive. Is that Freddie Kitchens saying Baker Mayfield should have checked to a run,
Yes.
but he doesn't want to say it?
Yes.
I should have called more of a direct run. That's all I'll say.
Yes.
Okay, you said you don't know if Freddie Kitchens can handle this or not. And I said, well, this is the heat turned all the way up.
Yeah.
You're 1-2, you're 0-2 at home. You're going to play the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Saints and the Patriots and the Bills on the
Getting really
horizon.
ugly.
And now is the time where this kind of stuff, the passive-aggressive stuff, and Baker Mayfield's got to be a big enough guy that doesn't bother him. He's got to be a big enough guy to say, yeah, I should have checked to a run. My bad. But if these guys start, he's blaming me, really? Well, let me tell you about this. And what do you think of this call? What do you think? This is and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying this is the test of a team. This is where you have to decide if you're a team or if you're in CYA mode, because it's going to get really difficult for this team if they start going the CYA route, because the teams they're playing are too good. And, my supposition is that they got a lot of me guys on this team. When you bring over Odell, it just bugged me to no end that he wore the shiny visor again last night. I saw the shiny visor and I'm like, really? Like the last game, you had to take that off and you left your team on an island, and people say, well, he got this visor cleared. Still. Myles Garrett wears a visor. It's a clear visor. Myles Garrett's a pretty good player. Yeah. Myles Garrett doesn't seem to need like the 1, 2, 3 look at me visor to function out there. And you can say it's a small thing, but you've said before, small things are indicators of big things.
And this is maybe a small thing in the press conference that we just heard, but I'm telling you right now, my antenna's up. I mean, you're starting to see a crack. Can they? You're a handyman. What do you do with cracks? Put caulk in them
spackle.
or something? Spackle the cracks, or it's going to.
You know what happened? The crack gets bigger eventually.
It's going to, and right there, both answers. I thought Baker did a really good job.
Yeah, Baker was good.
He did a really good job. He's right. Whatever play's called, you have to execute. But you got to put your team as a play caller in position to run the best play against a particular defense. So I right now, you would have to say, if you're looking at matchups, right? We talk about player versus player matchups.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Wade Phillips beat Freddie Kitchens, and guess what? I thought Steve Wilkes beat Sean McVay last night.
Yeah,
I want to give credit to Wilkes because that was a great game plan, and that's what the Rams are facing. That's what the Cincinnati Bengals, when their offense is facing, everybody's doing to the Rams what the Patriots did to them in the Super Bowl.
I will give Freddie Kitchens some credit, and I took some heat after the game for this. Look, last night's game, I expected to be a comfortable Rams win, given all the Browns' injuries going into the game. And people say, well, it was the defense that played, so it's Steve Wilkes that gets the credit. I do think the head coach sets the tone, sets the belief tone for a team. And so I do have to give Freddie Kitchens credit that he had his team in a competitive mindset going into last night's game. And you can say, well, that's a given. And it is, but still,
that's the old
injuries
Browns mentality.
Injuries can leak in and can make it, we don't have Denzel Ward and we don't have Greedy Williams. So I will give him credit in that regard. I'm not one to nitpick play calling because I don't know the things you know. But the draw was a bad call. You don't have to
qualify yourself.
Sometimes
you know enough to know that's a bad call.
It's a bad call.
You don't need to qualify.
I did think too, when you have 3 timeouts and you're inside to 5 and Nick Chubb has had a really good night on the ground. Why? Is the other thing. Have Nick Chubb in the backfield, if only to chip Aaron Donald when he comes steaming through there.
Well, the other thing, the thing that's being missed also that we haven't discussed is Baker's got to be better.
He does, no doubt.
He missed a lot of opportunities. He missed Jarvis Landry wide open running across the field. Those are plays when you're playing a good team that you have to make. Those are easy throws for a quarterback. He has to make them. And they need to keep him in the pocket. Now, I'm going to watch as we progress through the season, and I want to see if he actually can step up into the pocket because his best play can't be Baker running around crazy and making a play.
I mean, instantly as a Browns fan, when he rolls right and he's retreating, I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
No. Consistent, and he might get a play here or there, but consistent.
By the way, let me say this while we're on the Browns and they're playing the Ravens. I know Lamar Jackson's getting a ton of love today because he brought him back against the Chiefs. No, did you see his 2 big plays? He threw it up for grabs, and 8 times out of 10, that's going to get you beat. I still do not believe in Lamar Jackson.
Believe it.
Okay.
Believe
in Lamar Jackson.
I do.
We'll see who the Ravens
Long live Lamar.
We'll see who the Ravens quarterback is in 2 years.
We'll see who the Ravens and the Browns, how that game works out next week.
Well,
you're Mr.
I'm not
Browns
talking
again.
trash on the Ravens as a Browns fan. I'm just saying I don't believe in Lamar Jackson.
Are you rescinding the walk that you took years ago? Are you now?
I'm not bailing.
You're a Browns fan.
I told you
now.
I can't let the crack need more spackle. I'm gonna stay in there with my squad. I didn't expect a playoff berth this year. I don't think you make an instant football team just by adding talent. And what did I say when I got OBJ? You can't win in a team sport with a me guy.
Yeah.
So there's that. By the way, I did say I would question you today. I promised on Twitter last night. We talked about the Browns being empty down on the goal line with 3 timeouts and a minute left. Mm-hmm. The Rams had like 2nd and 1, and they're throwing on 2nd down, and then they're like empty on 3rd down. Yeah. It drives me nuts. Up 4. What are you doing?
You said Gurley. Gurley doesn't present any fear.
But
anymore.
if only have him in the backfield so you can play action.